All right, so have you guys ever been reading a book and you just start to kind of get a feeling of what's going to happen next?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. And that is called predicting. And that's what I want to teach you about today. What I want to teach you today is that, and I've got it right here so you can see it, readers make predictions by using information that we read to guess what will happen next. And the words that we're going to use to help us do that are I think and because. All right? So today we're going to use a reading strategy that's called predicting. And when we predict, we're actually just making a guess about what's going to happen. When we predict, we think about things that we already know, like our background knowledge or things that we've learned about in our own lives. And we look for clues that we read in the book to think about what might happen in the next part of the story that we're reading. And we can make predictions in different ways. We can make predictions about characters, about the setting, about problems, solutions, the life lessons in the book. And as we read, we can make more than one prediction. Okay? So I want you to watch me because I'm going to use clues from a book to predict what's going to happen next. And the book that we're going to be using today, you guys each have in front of you, it's called Carlos's Puzzle. All right? So the first part, you're going to watch me. I'm going to make my prediction on this story map. And the story map, the way it's laid out is it's got setting, characters, problem, main events. I may not come up with predictions for all of those things, and that's okay. I'm just going to write down the predictions that I have. Got it? So you guys are going to follow along with me. The book that we're going to read is called Carlos's Puzzle. So go ahead and open to the page that looks like this. All right, so I see what looks like a maze, an entrance and an exit, and some corn. There's a table of contents. Carlos, Javier, the contest, the maze, the dilemma, the win, and glossary. So I'm going to read this first part, and you can just kind of follow along with me, all right? Carlos first heard about the maze on a cool afternoon in autumn. He liked nothing better than working his way through mazes. In fact, he was an expert at finding the path from the beginning to end without getting lost. He knew many of the tricks maze makers used to disorient people trying to find the solution to their puzzle. I'm going to stop and make a prediction because I noticed up here at the top it said, Carlos first heard about the maze on a cool afternoon in autumn. And I see a picture over here of a maze and corn. Do you see that in your book? Mm-hmm. And one time my family, we went to the pumpkin patch and there was like a corn maze. Have you ever seen those mazes like that? Those like mazes that people can go through? So I think that the setting is going to be in a corn maze. So I'm going to write that on the story maze. I think the setting will be in a corn maze because Carlos said he first heard about the maze on a cool autumn afternoon. And there's a picture of the maze. All right, so do you see what I did as I was reading? One of the things that I did is I used the information that I noticed in the book along with my background knowledge to make a guess about what the setting was going to be. All right, we'll keep reading. He was in the kitchen creating his special ham sandwich with ham, lettuce, onions, pickles, mayo, mustard, and peanut butter. Ugh, I don't know about that. When his mother came in with Elf. Elf barked once, wagged his tail, and panted at the ham, sat down and stared up at Carlos. Elf knew that Carlos would feed him because Carlos always fed him. Carlos did everything for Elf. He filled Elf's bowl, took him for walks, and brushed him when he was matted. He even let Elf sleep beside him. Carlos tossed Elf a small piece of ham and went back to creating his masterpiece. All right, when I read that part about how Carlos treated Elf, I start to kind of grow an idea about or make a prediction almost about the kind of character that Carlos is, right? I'm going to hold off on making that prediction though until I read a little bit more. Have you told Javier yet? Carlo asked as he folded his sandwich together and took a bite. Javier was Carlos's big brother, and he had no interest in mazes whatsoever. Not yet. He'll hate it, you know. If it doesn't have something to do with sports, well, you know what I mean. All right. So I'm gonna make a prediction about what a problem might be. Because I think that based on this picture back here, Carlos is talking to his mom, and I think that there's going to be a problem between Carlos and Javier, because in the text it says he'll hate it, if it doesn't have anything to do with sports. Well, you know what I mean, he won't like it. So I think that, I'm going to predict that the problem is going to be, I think the problem is going to be Carlos likes mazes, but his brother won't. And so I think that will cause a problem between the brothers. And I think that because the book says he'll hate it. If it doesn't have something to do with sports, well, you know what I mean. So because the book says he'll, if it doesn't have to do with sports. I'm going to keep reading. I know he won't be thrilled, Mom said, as she worked, but we went to the sportsplex for him, and this time we're doing the maze for you. All right, so as I was reading, I made two predictions, and I made those predictions. I made one about the setting, and I made one about what I think the problem in the story might be. And the way that I made those predictions is as I was reading, I looked for clues, I thought about things that I knew, and I used that information to help me guess what was going to happen next. So now you're going to try it, okay? I want you to put your finger on page 6. All right, I'd like you to read to the bottom of page 6, and when you get to the bottom, I want you to make a prediction about a character. So if you look at your story map, touch the second box. Right there. Right there, there you go. Make a prediction there. Just like I made a prediction about a problem between Javier and Carlos, I want you to try to make a prediction about Javier, okay? So read to the bottom of page 6, and then write down what your prediction is on your story map, and then after you write it, I'm going to have you turn and talk with each other. Give me a thumbs up if you got it. Off you go. Using the words I think, because I'm going to make a prediction about Javier by using the information that you got when you read that page. As you're thinking, I'm going to read a little bit about Javier. I'll read a little bit of page 6 out loud. To see if that can help get started too. Javier burst into the kitchen as Carlos was putting the dishes into the dishwasher. Javi was wet, loud, and invigorated. I did it again, he boomed as he opened the refrigerator door and yanked out the ham. Make me a ham sandwich, little bro, because I am the man. I am the king of the playing field. With 3 base hits and a home run, I deserve a reward. What kind of character do you think Javier is? Do you have any predictions about him? So then you write on your... Making him do stuff? I think Javier is under the character. sure you have the word because. So I'm noticing some of the things that you guys wrote, and I'm seeing words like he's bossy and he was treating his little brother bad, or he was being mean. So make a prediction about the kind of person that you think Javier is. What kind of, stop for a second. I'm gonna let you talk in a second. I want you to think what kind of person would be bossy, or what kind of person is mean to his little brother. Make a prediction about who you kind of think Javier is as a person, okay? You two can turn and talk with each other, and you two can turn and talk. And use the words I think, and then because. All right? Off you go.
I think he's not generous.
You turn that way. You guys turn this way.
I think that Javier is type of mean person because he's like, he's going to and like take trying to say something that he can make it like he wants like a game or so he deserves a reward.
But he shouldn't.
Like he might think that he's like smart or like a king.
There, like the part when he said, what part made you think he's like a king? Yeah, when he says, you said it up here, I am the man, right?
He deserves this much.
All right. All right, so turn back to me. One of the things that you guys did is that you wrote down kind of what Javier did, and then you started to use what you noticed to grow an idea about who he is. So now, as you continue to read, you get to kind of prove if your prediction is right or not. If you look at the next box right across from where you wrote about Javier, this is what you find out as you actually read. All right, so as you are reading, I'm going to let you guys work on this book when you're doing independent reading time in your class. So as you are reading this book, what I want you to do is to continue to write down predictions that you have. And then if you find something that proves that your prediction is right, I want you to write it down in this box. All right? So one of the things that I want you to remember is what we are learning today. What we are learning today is that readers make predictions by using information that we read to guess what's going to happen next. Part of making a prediction is understanding what we're reading now to kind of guess what's going to come in the book next, all right? So remind me, what are you guys learning today?
We're learning about math and read.
What are we doing right now? What are we learning about here?
Right now we're trying to get some,
Who can help on what are we learning about? There's a reading strategy that it helps us.
We're reading about like having predictions.
So we're making predictions, by using information that we read about to guess what's going to happen next. And we're going to do that with the word, say it with me, I think because. All right, so as you continue to read this book, you're going to write down predictions that you have about the setting, the character, the problem, the main events, the resolution, the theme, or the life lesson. Is it okay to make more than one prediction in a book?
yes.
Yeah, you can make lots of different predictions as you read. And as you make predictions, I want you to write them down. All right? What are you learning about?
Predictions,
Maybe.
information.
What happened? Guess what's happening.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, guys.